Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Devon. He's a CEO and Chief Investment Officer at DFD Partners to discuss how Fintech is being leveraged to diversify the asset management industry. Devon, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, before we get into the fintech conversation, let's get your thoughts around the macro environment. You liken it to playing double dutch for investors. How so?
Yeah, I know it's been a while since probably anyone's done double dutch, but do you remember how difficult it was to time up not only the pace of the growth, but also just to kind of get that feeling in the entry and exit point? And I feel like now more than ever, that's kind of how investors are feeling. On one hand, you have the Fed that is really looking to tame inflation, to try to avoid a recession, which could trigger rising unemployment. But then you also have, you're combating the supply and demand imbalance within the labor. And then within labor, most of those costs are actually going to the service industry, which to us really tells us that high inflation is going to be here for a lot longer than people anticipate.
Do you think this could be the rebirth of the 60-40 portfolio?
So we think so, because looking at it from a macro side of the tape, a larger number of investors are fearful that we're going to get this wrong, right? We're not going to be able to get this soft landing, and that's why I think you've seen a lot of this this market volatility, which not being able to have a soft landing is going to be a bearish indicator for stocks, but a more bullish indicator for fixed income and bonds as a risk-off trade. And also, you see higher Treasury yields now. So now it's actually beneficial to have that 40% of fixed income investments in your portfolio. So I definitely believe that you can see more and more wealth managers going more back to that 60-40 portfolio as an asset allocation guideline.
Why do wealth managers, advisors with a diverse background, why are they at a disadvantage?
Yeah, it's difficult. Cerulli had a study that came out where it says 72% of wealth managers surveyed, especially on the diverse side, lack of natural network, and also not knowing if their story is succinct enough to be able to meet the next generation of financial professionals. So I look at the network effect of it, right, and how the racial wealth gap has demonstrable effects on the wealth management industry. That's why looking at fintech, leveraging tools like artificial intelligence to be able to identify potential money in motion to match wealth managers to potential money in motion. And I think that in and of itself is not going to get the job, but I think that could definitely help wealth managers with the diverse backgrounds find potential new clients.
So what is DFD Partners doing to affect change and diversify the wealth management business?
Yeah, so DFD Partners, we are an AI-based tech platform that leverages certain tools and, more importantly, advisors and wealth managers' data to help connect them not only to potential new clients, but also to differentiated asset management solutions, because we know one thing, right? We know that the face, background, and profile of wealth are changing before our very eyes, and that in the wealth management space, you better be able to have let's just call it more suitable investment solutions on the diverse manager front to be able to articulate that value proposition to your clients. Because the fact of the matter is 68% of graduating students are women and BIPOC. 70% of the workforce is women and BIPOC. So as an advisor, as a wealth manager, being able to penetrate not only the now but the next generation of potential investors, you better be able to have investment solutions that are in line with their cultural beliefs.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. You want to learn, you want to go to a doctor, you want to have advice from people that look like you and share similar backgrounds, and I think it almost feels like a resurgence in the financial advisory space with younger people looking to get in the industry because it's around fintech right now. It's not your grandfather's advisor where you're sitting behind a desk and you have your book that's been passed down from generation to generation and building it that way. And just like any other banking or financial product, it's not the firms telling the customer what they want. It's about the banks and the advisors listening to what the customers want.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot more resources now, and you look at how we're trying to have the wealth managers empower themselves in their story with data and have their data actually be as actionable to be able to attract new clients, right? And with the help of not only data but artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to help them out with that cause. And then there's, like for example, we have a partnership with IDIF, right? So IDIF is innovation diversity, equity, and inclusion in finance, right? So you're looking at over 1,000 stakeholders and asset owners that are trying to have those type of conversations and doing monthly roundtables to be able to help change the face and background of wealth management for the better.
Yeah, great work you're doing there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.